Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. Mathieu wins the die roll and starts us off. He plays an island and passes. Arj's got a Plains and casts one of the cards he's known for, Esper Sentinel. I draw, play a Command Tower, and cast a Crypt Breaker. Max's turn has him playing a Temple of Abandon, scrying 1. Mathieu plays an Irrigated Farmland which comes in tapped and ships it to Arja. Arja's got a Swamp and casts Zahur. He then pokes Max for 1 with the Esper Sentinel, increasing his speed to 2, and passes. I just draw, play an island, and pass. Max's turn has him playing an Aether Hub and getting an energy. He then casts Ornithopter of Paradise and passes turn. Mathieu draws, plays a Swamp, and brings out his commander with the Celestial Toymaker. Arja draws and impends Overlord of Baelmerk. He mills his 4 and gets Liliana Heretical Healer from his mill, and then goes to combat. Arja swings Zahur at Max for 2, who takes the hit, and Arja goes to 3 speed. After that, Arja ticks down his Overlord as he passes, and I activate the Crypt Breaker, discarding a card and making a zombie token. My turn has me playing a Choked Estuary, revealing an island so it comes in untapped, and then casting a Lord of the Undead. I pass to Max after that. Max just plays a Seat of the Synod, and then casts Saheeli and passes. Mathieu draws, playing a Glacial Fortress, and then casts a Spark Double as a copy of the Celestial Toymaker. Going to combat, Matt swings the Toymaker at Arja. This allows Mathieu to make a pile, and Arja gives him an offer you can't refuse off the trigger, and then takes the hit for 2. After that, Mathieu moves to his end step, with both Toymakers triggering and dealing 4 to each of his opponents. Arja's turn has a Keza Koilos coming in, and he casts Viscera Seer. He follows up with Liliana Heretical Healer, and then sacrifices the Viscera Seer to Zahur, transforming Liliana. Arja then downticks Liliana, bringing back the Viscera Seer, and then moves to his end step. He downticks his Overlord, and I also get in the action, tapping 3 zombies to lose 1 life and draw a card from the Crypt Breaker. I've got an island for turn, and then cast Braids, Arisen Nightmare. I pass, sacrificing my zombie token to Braids on my end step, and no one wants to sacrifice a creature, so they each take 2, and I draw 3. Max draws, and casts a Lumbering Worldwagon, paying the 1 for the Esper Sentinel trigger. It comes in, and he goes to find a forest. He then plays a Temple of Mystery, which comes in tapped, and scries 1, and passes. Mathieu just plays an island and passes. Arja's main phase has a Plains coming in, and he casts a Soaring Lightbringer. Going to combat, he swings the Esper Sentinel at Max, and a zombie token at me, which also makes 2 Flying Glimmers coming at us. Max and I block the ground creatures, but take the hits from the flyers, with Arja moving up to max speed. In his second main phase, he then downticks Liliana, bringing back the Esper Sentinel that had gotten taken out. Mathieu in response casts Fortune's Favor and picks me, and he takes the mystery pile after I arrange them. After that, Arja then moves to his end step, downticking the Overlord. Mathieu's Toymakers also trigger since he made a pile this turn, dealing 4 to each of his opponents. I play a Glasspool Shores, and then cast Diregraph Captain. I pass, and during my end step, sacrifice the Crypt Breaker to Braids. This triggers the Captain, pinging Arja for 1, and Arja sacrifices his Viscera Seer, while Mathieu and Max take 2, and I draw 2 thanks to the Braids trigger. Max plays a Mycosynth Gardens in his main phase, and then casts an Arcane Signet. He follows up with Stone Idol Generator, and then cruises up the Worldwagon with Saheeli. Going to combat, Max makes a copy of the Worldwagon with Saheeli, and sends the real one at Mathieu, and the copy at me. Max gets a total of 3 lands, 1 from the token entering, and 2 from them attacking, and Mathieu and I then take our hits, and Max passes. Mathieu draws, playing to planes and going straight to combat. He swings the Toymaker at Max, and has Max make the pile. And Max gives Mathieu the stroke of midnight, exiling the face down pile. After combat, Mathieu plays Jace, Architect of Thought, paying the 1 for the Sentinel, and then upticks him. He then moves to his end step, and both Toymakers trigger, dealing 4 to his opponents. Arja's main phase has Grave Pack coming in, with Mathieu responding by countering it with an offer you can't refuse. Arja then uses the treasures to help cast a Pawn of Ulamog, and once it resolves, moves to combat. He swings the Soaring Lightbringer at Mathieu, Esper Sentinel at Max, and a Glimmer at me, making an extra Glimmer attacking each of us, and with him attacking, he gets to make an extra Glimmer attacking each of us. Mathieu and I can't block, while Max blocks with the Ornithopter, and after they connect, Arja passes. I've got an Underground River for turn, and I go to combat. I swing everything at Liliana, and Arja lets her get taken out. I then cast Damnation, paying the 1 for the Sentinel trigger. This wipes the board, with Arja getting 4 2/2s and spawn tokens from his creatures getting taken out. I also get some pings from the Diregraph Captain, which I put into Arja, and then pass turn. Max's turn has him recasting Saheeli, and follows her up with a Synth Eradicator. Max then crews the World Wagon with Saheeli, and pays 3 energy to copy it in combat. Max then sends the 5/5 wagon at Jace, and the Eradicator and the Real World Wagon at Arja. This has Max getting 3 basics from all of his wagons, and Arja chumps the wagon with a spawn, and takes 2 from the Eradicator. Max opts to get 2 energy from the Eradicator, and in his second main phase, casts an Aurora Shifter, and passes. Mathieu uptakes Jace in his main phase, and follows up with an Arcane Signet. He then recasts the Toymaker, and then plays a Dimir Aqueduct, bouncing an island back to his hand as it comes in. Arja's turn has him recasting his commander with Zahur, and once he's out, casts an Accursed Marauder. Matt and Mathieu sacrifice their commanders, and Arja gets a 2/2 from sacrificing the Marauder. Going to combat, he swings 2 zombies at Jace, and 2 zombies at Mathieu. Matt and Jace each take their hits, and Arja passes turn. During his end step, he removes the last impending counter from the Overlord, which has it become a creature, and we move to my turn. My main phase has Bolas' Citadel coming in, and I then play Archghoul of Thraben off the top, losing some life. I continue with an island, and then play Erebos Bleakhearted off the top, taking another 4. I pass to Max after that. Max draws and once more recasts Saheeli, and then plays a Decoction module. Max then crews up the World Wagon with Saheeli, and going to combat, makes an Aurora Shifter as a copy of his Eradicator. Max also uses the Saheeli trigger to pay some energy and make a token copy of the World Wagon, finding the land as it comes in. He then sends the Aurora Shifter at Matt, the copied World Wagon at Arja, and the real World Wagon at me. Max decides to gain 2 energy off his copied Eradicator, and goes to find some lands. Before blocks, he taps the Eradicator to take out my Archghoul. I look at my top card, and mill a City of Brass. Moving to damage, unfortunately without Erebos being a creature, I get taken out, while Mathieu takes 2, and Arja blocks with a spawn token. In his second main phase, Max then makes a Construct token off the Stone Idol Generator, and passes. Mathieu's got a Tainted Field for turn, and then casts Fight or Flight. Arja plays a Makokoro in his main phase, and then casts Teysa, Orzhov Scion, and goes to combat, sending 5 zombie tokens at Max. Max blocks 1 with the Construct, and takes 8. Arja's second main phase has had Valgavos Faithful coming in, and he sacrifices it to reanimate the Viscera Seer. Arja then passes, and during his end step, Max makes the Mycosynth Gardens into a Synth Eradicator. Max plays a Rootbound Crag for turn, and casts an Etheric Amplifier. He activates it to double his energy, and then crews the World Wagon and goes to combat. Max strikes a deal with Mathieu to send all of his creatures at Arja, and Matt puts all of his creatures into an attacking pile except for Saheeli. Max then makes the Aurora Shifter become a Synth Eradicator again, and swings everything at Arja, making 4 energy off the Eradicators, and exiles an Octomancer to play for turn. Arja then blocks, and sacrifices a tapped zombie to Zahur. Arja then makes a spirit token off Teysa, and then sacrifices 2 more zombies to the Viscera Seer to make a total of 3 spirits. Arja then sacrifices his 3 spirits to exile the World Wagon, and then takes 6 from the Eradicators. After combat, Max then casts Octomancer, and gives Mathieu an Octopus token. He then spends 6 energy to make another Construct token. Moving to his end step, Max makes another Construct token off the Octomancer trigger, and Mathieu decides to cast Fact or Fiction, targeting Arja. Mathieu takes the pile with Ink Shield, and we move to his turn. Mathieu draws, plays an island, and casts Promise of Loyalty. He has Arja keep Teysa, and Max keep the Octomancer, and the rest of the creatures get sacrificed. This has Arja getting 6 spirit tokens off Teysa though, and Mathieu then moves to combat. He swings his massive 8/8 Octopus at Arja, and Arja just decides to take the 8. Mathieu passes after that. Arja's turn has him drawing, and playing a Bastion of Remembrance, making a 1/1 human token. He then flashes back Dread Return, sacrificing 3 spirit tokens. This drains the table for 3, and reanimates the Overlord of the Balemerc, which mills him 4 cards, and he returns to hand a Marionette Apprentice, and then casts it in his main phase. With that on the stack, Mathieu responds with Stroke of Midnight, and targets Teysa. With that on the stack, Arja responds by sacrificing 3 zombie tokens, and exiles the Octomancer. The Apprentice then comes in, with Arja making a Servo token from Fabricate, and he moves to combat. He then swings a zombie at Max, taking him out, and Arja passes. Mathieu draws, and plays out Master of Predicaments, passing after it resolves. Arja draws, and in his main phase, casts Agadeem's Awakening, putting 3 into the X. He targets Teysa, the Accursed Marauder, and Valgavoth's Faithful. Mathieu responds with Sauron's Ransom, and seeing no relevant cards, Arja decides to give him all 4. Unfortunately, with nothing to stop the drains from the Bastion or the Marionette Apprentice, Mathieu knows when he's beat and scoops it up. Game review time. So this game was just over an hour, and I think the MVP for this game was probably the Bastion of Remembrance. It allowed Arja to stay back in the game and claw his way to victory, as the life dream was very relevant. Other than that, notably good cards are always things like Bolas' Citadel, has allowed me to cast so many spells, but got dangerously low in life. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to pay off or capitalize with any kind of life gain to offset it, but it's always a sweet card to see. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.